Hey, good morning to all our Melton drivers and Melton family out there. Dustin, Dennis coming to you from Tulsa, Oklahoma today. I wanted to visit with everyone about some questions that have popped up on some of the work count surveys lately. Thank you all, everyone, for completing those and sending those in. That gives us an idea of what you're thinking about, what questions you have, and different items like that. Popular question last 2 or 3 weeks was asking questions about dedicated route and regional route opportunities. Just to differentiate between the two, dedicated routes are going to be when we have drivers that work for a specific customer and only that customer. You work only for certainty, and generally you're going to pick up out of the same location all the time. We have very few dedicated opportunities right now. We notice that dedicated opportunities kind of ebb and flow based on the market, based on the economy, based on need. When there's a high drive and customers find difficulty in finding carriers to haul their freight, they're more eager to go into contracts on dedicated accounts, because generally we'll ask for a long-term commitment, 6 months, 9 months, a year, something like that, to make sure we've got drivers that are on it and can consistently count on that freight. We have very few of those opportunities right now. At one point we did have a full fleet that dealt with that, but at this point, with just the nature of where we're at, it's I think there's something like 4 different lanes going at this time, and they're kind of in the Northeast, and they're all currently staffed. But again, if you ever have questions on what opportunities might happen with something like that on the dedicated side, we'll post through a Qualcomm for people that live in that area. Those are opportunities for drivers to get home on the weekends under loads or between loads and different items like that, so we'll do that. But the bigger item that's coming up is our regional fleets. Right now we currently have one regional fleet that we're working with. It's what we call our Southern Regional Fleet. They work out of Oklahoma, Texas, kind of the western half of Arkansas, and I'd say the northwest corner of Louisiana, kind of that Shreveport area. And what it is, we have about 50 to 60 drivers currently on the fleet. We have a waiting list. If you have any interest in that, I'll give you some information on who to contact to ask questions or get placed on the waiting list. So these drivers, what they do is they'll pick up freight that delivers within that corridor. We ask that the drivers live between Tulsa, Oklahoma City, Dallas, down to Waco and Houston, kind of within 75 miles on either side of the I-35 corridor in that area. Again, that's the lanes that have proved to be most plentiful in those areas, and we want to make sure that we're getting you home as needed. With the regional route, what happens is you're guaranteed at least 24 hours home each weekend. You pick up freight throughout the week in that area, and we try to get you home on the weekends as quick as we can. Sometimes you'll go home empty. You might empty on a Friday or Saturday, then go home. Or you might take a load through the house that has to deliver on Monday and come out of that. But that has a minimum guaranteed pay that's attached to it right now. As of December 2019, that's a minimum pay of $1,150 per week, as long as you work the full week. If your mileage pay and extra pay, TARP pay, all that stuff exceeds that, you obviously get that. So it's nice to kind of have that floor in there. But that's something that's currently existed. If you have any interest in that, our driver manager, Maria Valtierra, currently runs that. You can reach out to her at 918-270-9476. If you want to get put on the waiting list or have questions on the lane itself, please reach out to Maria. She'll be happy to answer those for you. Again, that's for people that live between Tulsa, Oklahoma City, Dallas, Waco, and then down to Houston, kind of in that line. Again, 75 miles on either side of that strip that goes through there. That's important. Now for the future with regional, some areas we're looking at. We're looking at possibilities of something in the Florida, Georgia area, possibly something up in New England, possibly something in the Rust Belt area, Ohio, and so on, and then possibly something out west as well. A lot of thought has to go into regional lanes. We've got to make sure we have the driver density, so enough drivers that live in that area to make sense to want to do it. And those are some areas where we find that we have quite a few drivers that live. We then have to have the customer base density. We have to make sure we have customers that are willing to ship in that area, and if we don't have them, we have to go out and get them. Again, we're looking for freight that delivers pretty much next day. It's a tough job because you're tarping and loading same day to next day, same day to next day, same day to next day. But again, you get that option where you're going to get home every weekend. So it's a good middle ground for drivers that still want that taste of driving over the road, but want to be able to get home on every weekend. Other things we have to look at, we've got to make sure that we have the right office staff in place for that. Customer service wise and planning wise, it's a very busy job, because with over the road, you might plan a driver and it's 3 days because they go across country before we have to plan them again. With the regional lane, that driver unloads and reloads the next day, then the next day, then the next day. So again, we're looking for having to have anywhere between 40 and 60 loads each day just to keep the fleet going, and then book for the next day and the next day. So again, we've got to have the right staff in order. So again, these areas, Florida, New England, Rust Belt, out west, those are areas we're looking at for the future. We've got to make sure we have the right things in order. When we do open up those areas, like we hope we do, we'll advertise and ask for drivers to make that commitment, to want to join in that or have questions or anything like that. So again, as we open those up in the future, we'll advertise and make sure we have the right people involved. We'll post this on Facebook, obviously, with the videos. If you have any questions you want to ask directly about it, I always watch for the feedback on these videos. Feel free to post your question there, and I'll be happy to answer it. But again, if you have any interest in the currently existing Southern Regional fleet that runs Oklahoma and Texas, please reach out to Maria at area code 918-270-9476. Otherwise, post your questions on the Facebook responses, and I'll be sure to answer them. Thank you all for your hard work. Very excited about this future opportunity here that we'll be able to offer our drivers more opportunities to be able to haul freight and still get home on a regular basis, because we know that's important to you all. Thank you all for all your hard work, and I hope you guys have a great day.